Hello, freaks and geeks. So, I've had a run-in with a radical MGTOW personality, and as I look through his channel, I'm wondering what kind of crazy shit can I find? And then I stumbled across a video. I read the title, and I said to myself, there's no fucking way he's making this argument. He can't possibly think that marriage turns men gay. So I clicked on the video, and boy was I sadly mistaken. Take a look for yourself.
Marriage. Does it turn men gay? I think so. The facts are, 4 million women are currently living in America with men they are going to turn gay.
What the hell are you talking about? Look at this. Somebody come look at this. This nigga here? That nigga there.
Hey there, Devil's Advocate. It looks like you found your way into the MGTOW monk community. Now, while not all MGTOW monks are as insane as Traversable Migtard here, they do, however, share a common philosophy that holds to moral standards reminiscent of the Judeo-Christian Church. You can almost call it a tradcon morality. In one breath, they claim to be far more progressive than their feminist counterparts, while during the exhale of air, they express their disdain for anything that would make Jesus cry. Much like feminism, this is the kind of doublethink that seems to be spreading throughout the MGTOW community. Considering how others in our community have been dealing with the same cognitive dissonance within the social justice feminazi war camp, it becomes very easy to pick up on the same level of bullshit from any MGMuffy and MGBaiter that thinks and operates in the same way that Traversable Migtard does. With that being said, I'm very curious to see what he's talking about in this video. Oh, and thanks for having me, by the way.
Marriage. Does it turn men gay?
Citation needed.
Praise the Lord.
So from the beginning, you asked this question, and so if you're gonna have this kind of discussion with this kind of claim, and it's one hell of a claim, then I think that you would have some, proof. Let's go to the description of your video, and let's see what kind of citations you left for us. It should be an interesting, I see a lot of words, but no links or, those things called citations.
Citation? Oh, Traversable is not too keen on citations. He does have plenty of arguments of the straw man, red herring, and ad hominem variety. Oh, and don't forget the emotional antidote, born of his own false testimony. This should be fun.
I think so. The facts are, 4 million women are currently living in America with men they are going to turn gay.
Did you leave that part out, or are we supposed to just find it? So your entire video is going to be about how marriage somehow turns men gay, but you provide no proof of your claim. You're just gonna throw that claim out there, aren't you? Kids, let this be a lesson. Stay in school and for fuck's sakes, stay off of drugs.
The facts are, 4 million women are currently living in America with men they are going to turn gay.
Nobody cares what you think.
Marriage does that to men in the United States. The sad truth, men, is over 63% of gay husbands that will be turned gay will never tell their wives the truth ever.
Wait a second. I've been married, and I don't ever recall getting the urge to get into a spit-swapping makeout session with another guy simply from wearing a magical wedding band that turns men gay. Now, I'm sure you're not suggesting that the wedding band itself is like the one ring forged by Sauron in order to turn all the orcs gay. So if you're not talking about the one ring to queer them all, then what other magical force are you referring to? Never mind. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm dealing with the Traversable Gay-tow. Oh, I'm sorry, MGTOW.
So let me make sure I have this straight. Vagina, which is known to reduce gayness, because gay men have a tendency to avoid vagina, is somehow going to turn men gay should they elect to marry a woman. So what exactly is it about marriage that turns men gay in the first place? And aside from that, you're gonna have to show proof of your claims, because I just can't imagine a man who's been straight all their life meeting a woman and then saying to themselves, you know what, now that I have vagina on tap, nap now. I'm gonna go out and suck me some dick today. That makes absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever, and you know it. And this is why you don't have citations for your claims, because there are no citations for your claims that aren't laughable. Now, you are not like every other MGTOW that I've met. A lot of other MGTOW men that I've met don't tell others to avoid women. They prefer to live their lives the way that they choose, to go their own way and not dictate to others what they should do. Because most MGTOW that I've met have said they don't care about what you do. They care about what you do in terms of affecting them. If someone decides to get married, that's not your problem or your concern. But let me get this straight. You who said,
You see how important it is to be a MGTOW, how important it is to not be around women, how important it is to not let them in your homes.
it's not the gay one, but a man who decides to marry a woman, he's the gay one. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a classic case of projection here. You kind of sound like this guy.
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more.
Nigga, you gay.
I agree. This is an obvious case of projection since Traversable Miggy seems overtly concerned over the sex lives of other men. It almost comes off as if Travie Girl is sounding jealous that he's not getting all the male attention that he's seeking. I'm starting to think that he joined MGTOW, and specifically the MGTOW monks, so that he could increase his chances of male sexual intimacy. I wager that to be the case, given that the monks are wound up so tight that any sensation on their penises would be happily accepted. Traverse, you go, girl.
And that's the problem in America. This is coming from a counselor that has counseled under over 100,000 women in America that got married and turned their husbands gay or bisexual.
Oy vey. Alright, so in order to educate you on how you're being ignorant, we need some sources, don't we? I find that the Centers for Disease Control is a very reliable source. And they're saying that in the calendar year of 2015, there are roughly 2,221,579 marriages. And in these numbers, they only count heterosexual marriages. Now let's figure out just how many homosexual people we have in this country. So this also comes from the CDC. It says here, sexual orientation. Among all U.S. adults aged 18 and over, 96.6% identified as straight or heterosexual, 1.6% identified as gay or lesbian, and 0.7% identified as bisexual. The remaining 1.1% of adults identified as quote-unquote something else, 0.2%, selected quote-unquote I don't know the answer, 0.4%, or refused to provide an answer, 0.6%. After classifying as missing data and dropping from the analyses those cases with responses of quote-unquote something else, quote-unquote I don't know the answer, and refuse, the percentage of adults who identify as gay or lesbian and bisexual remain unchanged, and the percentage of adults who identify as straight increased slightly to 97.7%. Now we'll end there.
It's estimated in our country that 4 million women are currently turning their men gay.
Okay, if you can cite unknown and unproven sources and make boisterous claims, then allow me to do the same. Here it goes. Recently there has been some study that I won't clarify or cite with any clarity that proves that 98.2% of all MGTOW men are flaming homosexuals, whom have been sent by Skynet from the future to turn straight men into gay sex robots. And I base this on absolutely nothing.
It's estimated in our country that 4 million women are currently turning their men gay.
It would have been great if you actually cited that source that you're speaking of there. Now, if what you're saying is true, that means that somehow, some way, being married and being around vagina constantly makes someone gay. And I've already shown that you're the only person advocating that men not be around women, which I assure you is probably going to make men think some pretty homosexual thoughts. I mean, geez, do we have any institutions that could prove my point that men being around other men constantly can in fact convince some men to become gay? Geez, are there any institutions like that? Oh, I know.
This turning to gay can come in a lot of ways. Sexual abuse, verbal abuse, monetary abuse, and it's becoming more and more prevalent in our society. In the past, you would not encounter such a thing, but today's hurry up and marry and get divorced world, where marriage is a woman that's just nagging and nagging, and men are growing tired of this.
Growing tired of something is one thing, but if you growing tired of someone nagging, and that suddenly makes you, when you were once a heterosexual, suddenly find dick to be appealing, then I assure you, you were always gay. Because the threshold of you being gay and you not being gay is pretty fucking low, wouldn't you say?
Can come in a lot of ways. Sexual abuse, verbal abuse, monetary abuse.
Now, I understand that abuse, primarily sexual abuse at a young age, can twist the mind of a young person and shape their sexuality in a negative way, usually causing the child to develop an antisocial mindset governing how they interact in a sexual capacity later on as adults. But in this instance, I know you're not talking about child abuse and are referring to the abuse a grown man could receive from an adult woman. Now, I will say that any form of abuse is unacceptable, but for you to make a huge leap in logic and claim that it somehow turns married men gay as if marriage itself was creating an epidemic of homosexuality is absolute lunacy. Aside from the fact that you characterize being gay as some form of disease, you then go to the extent of claiming that pretty much all married and divorced men are gay. Now going with your logic and your frame of thought, then I can safely say that you, Traversable Migtard, are a faggot.
When women learn that their husbands are gay, she goes through a myriad of emotions, this person says, ranging from devastation to repulsion. But she never realizes that she was the result or the thing that turned him gay.
I think most women who find out that their husbands are gay, they're probably not blaming themselves per se, but they're probably wondering, how did I not know that I married a gay man? You see, there's a reason why most gay men that you run across don't like vagina, because they're fucking gay. Get how that works? Gay men like pee-pee. Gay men like sausage. Gay men love other men, or at least they want to have sex with other men. So what you're saying doesn't really follow, because while we know that some women have in fact married gay men, knowingly or unknowingly, that doesn't speak for the majority of marriages. Because then, you would have to be suggesting that all married men and all divorced men likes the pee-pee. And I've yet to see a citation for that.
But she never realizes that she was the result, or the thing that turned him gay.
Right, and that's backed by evolutionary science, psychology, sociological research. Oh wait, I almost forgot. All that smart sciencey shit is just gynocentric propaganda. I'm just a stupid tradcon that fails to acknowledge your undeniable logic. Oh brother.
After long marriages of being abused, men choose other sexualities, and it's their right to do that. Homosexuality and bisexuality is their right 100% after living in an abusive relationship with a woman.
If it's their right to do that, and if they decide to go out and be gay, what exactly is your issue here? Because even if what you're saying is true, even if you are 100% correct, and you certainly haven't proven your case, but I'll play devil's advocate because, you know, obvious reasons. Let's say that everything that you said is 100% correct. Okay, what would it matter? Because it would only matter to someone who finds a problem with gay people. And since you haven't proven that marriage somehow turns men gay, I find it reasonable to conclude that you need some silly way of taking swipes at women and then citing sources that you don't even cite because, I don't know, you need a way to project? Because if you find nothing wrong with being gay, why are you using homosexuality in a very negative connotation? It's almost like you're saying, hey men, don't get married because it'll make you gay. But listen to me, because not being around women and not even bringing them into your homes, which I think many guys would do to have sex with women, that somehow is going to keep you heterosexual. This is just my opinion, but it sounds like you're gay and you know that most men like vagina, and so you hope for a world where men no longer be around women, marry them, date them, or have any meaningful interaction with them because you want all the men's to yourself.